Okay. Okay, fine. So far, what we have learned that there are different annotations, and each annotation is having their own meaning, and its execution sequence as well depend whatever annotations you have selected, right? Now, next thing, as of now, we haven't know, I mean, how to add the, or how to compare the actual versus expected, right? So whenever you write the manual test case, the last statement or last step mostly is about the what is the expected. All right. For example, if I'm adding the user, all right. So what is my expected if I'm adding one user into the system? All right. Then my expected is that like user should get added and it should be reflected in that particular user table. So user should be displayed in user table. So this is my expected result, right? So now if this is my expected result, then I have to check that as well, right? So only adding the user is not, we can say like, it's not, I mean, what my test case is saying. My test case is saying add the user and check that user is able to add into the, or user is able to see into the table or not, right? So now if user is not able to, display in that particular table, then we can say like, actual versus expected is not matching, right? So that's the reason my test case is failed. Right. So here point is that we have to verify the actual versus expected. Okay, so each and every test case should be have, there some expected output or expected result. So that expected result we have to verify. So now how to verify? Okay, so now in TestNG there are some assertions available. With the help of those assertions, we can verify, actual versus expected. All right. Now, for example, let's take the example. Okay. So let's take the example. Let's say I'm on this particular. Okay, so let's say I'm searching for something. So let's say I'm searching for. So let's say claim. Right. So I just type the CLAIM claim. Okay, and that's it. This is my test case. Okay. So my test case is that the this particular search should work. Okay, so wherever I'm adding the valid option, then it should display that particular option. Right. So I'm adding the claim and it's displayed. The claim option is displayed here. Right. So here, what is the expected? Here in this case, what is the expected result?
Claim tab should be appear.
Expected. Yeah. Claim item or claim tab is should be reflected right here. Should be displayed here. Okay. Or we can say the only claim tab should be displayed. Right. Now, for example, if I'm adding something which is not available, so let's say I'm adding like this, right? So nothing should be displayed. So this is my expected result, right? So if you're adding something invalid, which is not available in the option, then nothing should be displayed, right? Okay. So this kind of, expected you can add. So for example, let's say I'm in PMI model and here I'm adding some user. Okay. So let's say I'm writing the test case for the login. So for that, I'm adding the user, I'm adding the password, all right, and I'm saying login, right? So as soon as I clicked on login, so what should do? Application should do, it should log in. Okay, so this orange HRM logo should be displayed. By default, PMI tab should be selected. By default, this particular tag should be selected. The PMI tag should be selected. All right, so this is the expected result for me. This is the expected result for the me when I'm writing the login test cases, right? So how to verify it? How to verify this particular login test or how to add this particular login test? So for that purpose, I need assertion. So I will check that particular this orange HRM logo is displayed. Okay, so it is displayed method I will use. It will give me true or false. Right. If logo is displayed, then it will give the true. If logo is not displayed, then it will give the false. Right. So what is my actual, sorry, what is my expected result here? The logo should be always there. So always true should be there, right? So I'm going to compare the true with true, right? If true actually is true, expected is true, then my test case will pass. But actually is, I mean, expected is true and actually is false, then my test case is going to fail, right? So this thing we have to manage with the help of assertion. Okay. Okay, so let's write the test case for the same. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just go to the Eclipse. Here I will create the new test case. Okay, I'll say other. I'll say test test. Okay, I'm give the name. I'll say finish. Okay. Now if you see one test is created. Okay, so I'll give the name login test. I'll give the name of this particular test as a login test. Okay. So this particular test will log in to the application with the help of valid username, valid password, and then I'm going to verify that the login, the logo should be displayed, right? So for that purpose, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to add uh, annotations, right? So okay, so before suite, we have added this. So let's add the before suite here. I'm adding this before suite and then web driver. All right. Now I'm going to say like, login method, right? So for the login as well, we have written the code somewhere. Let me open that one. Okay, so this is our login code, right? So I'll just copy the login code and I'll paste it so that no need to repeat the things. Okay, so this particular code is going to log into the application. Okay, so now whenever my test case will start, okay, so what exactly it is going to do? It is going to log in the application. It is going to log in the application. All right. And then once it is logged into the application, I need to check, login is successful or not. Right. So for that purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, check this logo is displayed or not. Okay. So inspect. Okay. So it's saying like, this is the image having alt text, client brand banner. Text is equal to alt text is equal to client uh, brand banner. Okay. So this is the brand banner. Right. So either you can use this particular thing or this particular is also fine. Okay. So let's check the image. Okay. So I'll say control//img text is equal to, sorry, this is not text, this is alt text, right? So
Alt.
I'll say
@alt.
At
correct.
the rate alt.
Alt text, right? So alt. Okay, alt is equal to this one. Right. So I'll use this particular export, right? So I'll say I want to check, this logo is displayed or not. So that I'm saying like, driver dot find element by dot xpath. This is the xpath. Okay. Then how to check? How to check element is displayed or not? Is there any method?
Is displayed, dot is displayed.
Correct. Dot is displayed. And what this method will return?
One string.
True or false?
It will return the Boolean value, right? That is true or false,
True.
right? So I'll say Boolean. So let's say I will say logo. Each logo. Okay, so each logo is going to have true or false, right? Now I got the logo, right? So now I want to check, the logo is displayed or not, right? So for that purpose, I have to add the assertions, right? So I will get the true or false here, right? But I have to match, actual versus expected, right? So how to match it? So there is one thing available in test engine, that is the assertion. So for that purpose, I'm saying assert equals, right? So there are so many options available here. See, these are the options available for the assertion, right? So first of all, you can compare like, Boolean, and you can compare with the Boolean, right? So if you see the two values are available here. So first one is your actual value. Actual means what? Actual means how it is displayed on UI. Actual means what thing you are getting from the UI. Because when you are saying like, actual result means what application is displaying you, what application is saying you, what application is showing you, right? So that thing we usually called as the actual result, right? Same in manual testing as well, right? So how, what, when you're saying like, actual result is, let's say, logo is not displayed, but expected is logo should be displayed, right? So you should know the what is meant by actual and what is meant by expected result, right? So I have to add here actual result versus expected result. So in this case, what is my actual? Actual is logo should be, sorry, what is my expected? Expected is the logo should be displayed. And actual means whatever displayed on logo or what is displayed on UI, that is my uh, uh, that is my actual, right? So whenever I'm talking about the actual, that means I'm checking on application. What is the application giving me result? That particular result, I'm saying the actual result. And for the expected, from where I'm getting the expected result? Vipin, from where I will get the expected result?
Expected result from our script, sir, that we have.
All right. But who is going to tell you expected result?
Assert will tell.
No, but generally, if you're talking about the manual test case, right? If you're writing the manual test cases, how you are saying like, if I'm saying like, when I'm entering the valid username, when I'm entering the valid password, then user should log in successfully and logo should be displayed. So who is going to tell you that logo should be displayed? It's in requirement, right? It's in your requirement that whenever you enter the username, whenever you enter the password, then application your user should be logged in successfully and logo should be displayed. So logo should be displayed. It's there in your requirement. That's the reason you are saying like, logo should be displayed. This is the requirement that you got, right? And based on that requirement, you have written the test cases. Right. Now my test case is saying logo should be displayed. So I have to verify that logo is displayed or not. Right. So for that purpose, I have navigated this particular flow till the application user should be able to log in. Now once login, I have to verify this logo is displayed or not. Right. So my my expected is logo should be displayed. Logo should be displayed. So for that purpose, I'm checking is there logo is displayed or not? Okay, when I'm logging, logo is displayed or not. So that result I'm storing here. is logo. Okay, so can we say that this is your actual result? Because I'm getting this from the UI. So can we say that this is your actual result? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, so I will say this is my actual result. And what is my expected? So what I'm doing here, I'm saying like, assert equal. So assert will take the n number of option. Okay, so you can assert two boolean variable. You can assert the again two boolean objects. You can assert one boolean object and one boolean your data type. Then you can assert both the boolean data type. You can assert the boolean array. You can assert the let's say byte, 2 bytes number, one I mean byte as a data type and 1 byte as a your object. So you can compare these particular options as well, right? So these are the different options provided for you guys here. So you can compare the two string as well here, right? So if you go down, so somewhere you will see the string as well. Don't worry. Short. Yeah, string is there, right? So see, string is there, right? So in my case, I want, compare the two Boolean options, right? So you can select anything, whatever the data you are entering, based on that, it will take, that particular asset. Because what exactly they are doing here, this is called as the method overloading or overriding. Same class, different methods available with the different parameter. This is method overloading or method overriding.
Method
Overloading.
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 Correct. This is the method overloading or overriding.
Overloading.
Overloading.
Overloading. Okay. So in overloading, what we do, we will
Same
have
Same
method
same
method name but
class and
different
different same
argument
class
or
parameter.
within the
parameter.
same
Parameter.
class. Within the same class, we will have n number of method. The method name should be same, but parameter should be different. So this is method overloading. This is
Type of
method
parameter
overloading.
should be different.
Correct. Parameter should be different. At least type of parameter should be different, or at least order of parameter should be
Order
different.
of different. Yes.
Right. So here, if you see, first one is the Boolean data type, and here Boolean object. Now next one is the Boolean object, then Boolean object, then Boolean data type. Then both are Boolean data type. Then Boolean array, then byte, then byte object. So there are n number of options, right? But I ultimately, what you have to do, you have to compare the actual versus expected. So all these methods are available to compare the actual versus expected. All right. So in my case, if I'm choosing this one as well, because it's doing the method overloading, based on that, whatever parameters I'm passing, it will choose the correct method. Right. So if I select this one and I'm passing the string, it will take the this one method, the string one method. Right. So you don't have to worry, right? While writing the assert, right? So for example, I'm taking this one and I'm just removing because I don't need, I mean, 3 parameter. I'll just remove the 2 parameter, 1 parameter, and I'll say here, first of all, my actual, I have to say here. So I'm saying like my actual is logo, right? My actual is logo, right? Or I will say is logo display is my actual one. And what is my expected here?
The logo
Expected
should
logo
display.
should display or not display?
This should display.
Logo should be displayed. Can I say true? Logo should be always
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say logo should be true. And that's it. That's it, right? So if I run this, so this particular test should be passed. So if you see, it's entering the username, it's entering the password. And now if you see the one test case run, one test case pass. So it's saying like, the login test is executed and it's executed successfully. All right. So now, for example, for some instances, let's say my requirement is that logo should not display now, right? So in that case, actual I'm going to take from the UI, right? But my expected is what? Logo should be display or not?
It should not display.
Should not display. So that's the reason
False.
I'm saying like, false here.
False.
My actual is, sorry, my expected is logo should not be display. So that's the
Display.
reason I'm saying false. Logo should be false, right? Now I will compare it. Sorry, I will run it. And now my test case should be fail because I'm expecting logo should not display, but in actual its logo is displayed there, right? So my test case should be failure. All right. So if you see failure one and pass one, right? So this particular step is very, very, very important while writing the any test.
Ajay,
Okay.
Ajay, why it's displaying the one pass? Because we write only one test case here.
No, it's not saying one pass. It's saying zero pass.
Oh, it's run pass. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Run once.
We
Okay.
have run one test case, and
And
within
it's
that
failed
one test
again.
case,
Yeah.
one test case is fail. Zero pass, zero skip.
Zero fail.
Right. So now what I'm saying, like, this particular step is very, very, very important. Without this particular step, your test should not be there. Right. From interview point of view, no one is going to, I mean, most of the case, you'll not get the question on this particular thing. Okay. But when you're actually working on application or actually working in any organization, the assertion is required for each and every test case. Without assertion, how we can check, what is actual and what is expected. All right. So this particular thing you should give. Okay, actual versus expected. Okay. Now, for example, I'm expecting like, the admin tab should be display, PM tab should be display, leave tab should be display. All right. So in that case, how I can assert it? Right. So first of all, I have to take, write the XPath for this one. Right. So I'm going to say, okay, so this is my ORXT menu. Okay. Okay. So in this particular spam, admin is there, right? So what is the spam name?
Text. That's a text.
Okay. So we can take the text, right? So to
Yeah,
identify this one.
span text.
All right. So I'll say control F and I'll say slash slash.
Span text is equal to admin.
Okay. Span text is equal to admin. All right. So what I'll do, I'll say driver dot find element by dot xpath. Okay, so this is the xpath, and I want to extract the text for this particular tag. So how to extract the text? So I'm going to say get
Text
text. Get text method will return the text, right? So it will return the text in the form of string. So I
string.
have to create one string variable.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll say string. Okay, and I'll say admin text is equal to this one. Right. So now I want to add the assertion for this one as well, right? So how to add the assertion? So first of all, I'm going to say assert equals. Okay. So what is my expected here? Sorry, what is my actual here?
Admin's actual.
Actual is
Admin
admin
text.
text, right? So which is coming from UI. And what is my expected?
Actual.
Expected is the
True.
admin,
Admin.
right? So I'm going to add the
We have
expected
to
here.
give add text.
Sorry,
We have to give the text instead of true or false. Yeah, string. It's a string. Yeah,
because see, it's going to
yeah. We are
return some
giving the
string,
string.
right? So it's going to return
Yeah,
this particular text, right? So I'm going to verify that this particular text is displayed or not,
successful.
right?
Yep.
So for the tab,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to return this particular text, and I'm going to check, admin. Now this text is admin or not, right? So now if I
Yes.
run this
Mm-hmm.
particular test, okay, now it's saying like, one test case is, sorry, yeah, your test case is fail itself. So next step is not executed. All right. So what we'll do, we'll say, this particular test case will mark as a true. Right. So now I will execute it. So we are writing it this is the same test case. It's not a different test case. So we are having only one test case here. But in one test case, we are adding the multiple assertions to check that what are the different types of assertion is there. Now it's saying like, my test is pass. Okay. So this is the test name, login test, and that is pass, right? So what I'll do now, I'll say instead of admin, I'll say small admin here, right? So let's check, it's passing or fail. Okay. Now it's saying like, test is fail. Now, if I go a little bit up, okay, now it will give the detail report. Okay, so now it's saying like, expected is admin. So see, expected, it's saying like, admin. So this particular part is expected. Okay, it's saying like, admin is in small, but found admin. Okay, I was expecting this one, small in admin in small case, but actual, it's a admin in capital one, A capital. Right, so it will give the detailed log or detailed reports where exactly your test is failed. Right. So assertion, you should, I mean, check these assertions, right? Now, interesting thing is that you can add, I mean, the assertion for anyone, right? So we have seen like, there are different types of assertions available. So assert equals boolean. We can give the string, we can give the character, we can give the character array, we can give the single character, a double, and these are many options available, but it will work in similar way. Okay. So one different thing that I will show you. Okay. So there is one assert equal to available where we can give the message as well, right? So for example, let's say test case is fail, then I can give the message as well, right? So I will give the message, um, let's say my message will be the tab name is not match. Okay, I'm saying like, tab name is not match. Okay, so this is the informative message I can give, uh, for any test. Okay, so if I go to the failure report, see, tab name is not match. It's giving their informative message. So if you want, you can give this message as well for each and every assertion so that uh, so that this particular, so Vipin is there. Vipin is not there, right? So he's facing some issue. Okay, fine. Okay, so what we are talking about, we can give the this kind of message or this kind of informative message. Okay, for any assertion. Okay, so assertion is basically to compare the actual versus expected. Okay, and this is very important for any test cases to have this particular assertions. Right. So there are multiple assertions. In that assertions, you can choose any assertion that you want. This is clear for everyone, assertion. This is very small topic, but this is important one. This is clear? Vajra, Avinash,
Yes, yes, Ajay.
Rohi,
Yes, Ajay. Yes, Ajay.
Alisha.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So next thing that we have, I mean that we haven't seen yet, that is the, as I said earlier, that with the help of testng, we can have the testng reports as well, right? So if I go to the test output, okay, now if you see here, one index.html is created. If you remember, I said with the help of testng, testng is having inbuilt reporting as well, right? So as your Selenium is not having reporting, but your testng is having reporting, right? So if you see, this is your testng report. Right, so it's saying login test we have run and that particular test itself is fail. Okay, so this is the failure report. Okay, it's saying tab name is not match. Tab name is not match. Correct. For example, let's say if I'm running this particular annotations related, right? So here, how many tests is there? So this is the first test case and this is the second test case, right? Suppose if I run this particular test case or this particular suite, then we'll see what is happening here. It's saying two test case run and two pass, right? So if I go here and if I refresh this one, right? If you see two methods run and two pass, it's saying two methods run, two pass. Okay. So this is the one report that we can say which is generated by your test ng, and second one is your test ng emailable report. See this one. Okay, now where I'm getting these reports, I'm just navigating one step back. Okay, so this is our HDFC project. In that HDFC project, we can see this particular test output directory. Test output directory is there. Right, if I'm going to this test output directory, and if I'm clicking on this emailable report, okay, now if you see, it's saying so far we have executed, let's say two test cases. Out of two test cases, zero test cases skip, zero test cases retry, zero test cases fail. Total time taken for this one is the 55 milliseconds. Okay. Then it's saying class name is test annotations. And in that class, we have run the two test cases. So first test case is the login test, and second test case is your login test two. Right. If I want to check the summary, I can click on this login test, so it will redirect to this particular login test, right? So right now we have only two test cases, but it might be possible you are having thousands of test cases, right? So in that case, by clicking on simply this particular link, it will navigate to the test description here, right? So this is the report. This is the test ng report. Now, if you're going for interview, and let's say you thought in your mind that I'm going to tell the framework in which I'm going to say I'm using test engine, right? So in that case, if he asks what are which report you are using for the reporting purpose, right? So as of now, you can say we are using test ng reports, test ng reports. These are the very good reports. Okay, we can use these reports as well, right? So one can use this particular reports as well, right? So in going forward, we will see the extent report as well. Don't worry. But as of now, you can tell we are using the test ng reports. Okay. Reporting is clear for everyone.
Yes, Ajay.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is we can't see Selenium.
Just please repeat it one more time.
So we can't see this inbuilt report in Selenium. We
Yes,
don't
yes,
have this inbuilt report in Selenium.
correct.
And Testng it is there. Okay.
So test-ng, we can have, I mean, detailed report. Now I'm
Yeah.
having only two test cases. So that's the reason it's saying like, suppose if this test case is fail, so what I'll do, I'll make just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, we know that right in our demo test. So this particular test is going to fail. Why? Because it's not matching my
Uppercase
actual
letter.
versus expected, right? So what I'll do, I'll just run it. So ultimately, this particular test is going to fail. So see, this particular test is fail. What I'll do, I'll go to the this test output directory. Here there are two kinds of reports generated. So first one is your emailable report, and second one is your index.html report, right? So I'll go to the emailable report. Now if you see, now it's saying like only one test case is executed and which is fail. And for the failure, it's giving the complete failure log, right? So whenever you are working on actual application, you're not going to execute the test cases on your local machine. That means how I'm currently running on my local machine, one by one test cases. So you are not going to execute in this way, right? So it might be chances that you are going to run those test cases through the Jenkins, or maybe any remote server you are going to run those test cases, right? Once the execution will finish, you will get the this kind of report. You will get the this
Generate
kind
this
of
kind
report.
of report.
Correct. So it might be having, let's say, 500 test cases, right? So it will say like, out of 500 test cases, so it will say like, total 500 test cases are there. So out of 500 test cases, let's say 400 are pass. So let's say 25 is skip. So let's say retry, if you are doing retry, it will give the retry count, or otherwise it will say like, 75 test cases are failed,
75.
right? So you will get the detailed report here. Okay. Now, okay. So 75 test cases are failed, but what is the reason of failing the 75 test cases, right? So for that, you will get this detailed log. You'll get this particular log there. Right. So by looking at the log, what I'll check like, this is the login test, and this particular test is saying like, tab name is not matched. Which tab? So it's saying like, I was expecting the admin and it is having the capital A. Correct. So because of this is not matching. So what I'll do, basically I'll go on application and I'll check, um, this particular tab name is having capital or small. Now, if it is having small, then I'll go to the BA, go to the developer, and I'll check, with them that earlier it was, capital one. So admin A is capital. Now it is small. It is changed. I mean, due to the customer is demanding, or it is a bug, right? So now if they say like, this is the bug, you can add the bug. Now if they says like, oh, that requirement got changed and they are expecting like, this particular A should be small. Then you have to go
So,
ahead and you have to update your script.
so in this case, our script will pass if it is lowercase.
Correct. Script will pass.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. But why this is in capital one, that you have to ask with the BA.
Pass.
Right. So
Yeah.
now it is displayed like this. So what is the reason? Okay. So they will say like, this is the change requirement. We have fixed one bug, and with that we have fixed this one as well. That's the reason it's saying like, capital one, right? It might be possible that you already know that, right? So in that case, you are going ahead and you are going to change this particular script. So Now you got that, like, this should not be small. This should be capital. So in that case, you are going to add this A here instead of small a. You're going to add this capital A.
Capital.
Sorry, capital A. Now your test case will start passing. Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the about your reporting and your assertions. Okay. Any doubt till here?
No.
Okay. So let me close all these tabs. Okay. So next thing is we're having is prioritizing the test cases. Prioritizing the test cases. Just a minute. Okay. So next thing that we have is prioritizing the test cases. So how to prioritize the test cases? So there are multiple, so whenever you write the test cases, so for example, let's say I'm writing the multiple test cases. Okay, so for example, I'll go to the demo test. Here I'm having one login test. Okay, or maybe what I'll do, I'll create one separate class, and here I will say demo test 2, and I'll say, okay, so which class I have to create? I have to create the Testng class, right? So I'll say right click and I'll say other, and I'll say Testng class. Okay, so which class name is demo 2 or demo test 2, and I'll say finish. Okay, so here basically I'm going to add a few test cases. So let's say I'm going to add, let's say, add user. Okay, so this is the add user test. I'm not going to add the user here. I'm just going to add the message here. Okay, so I'm going to say this is add user test. All right, so I'm going to add one more test here. Okay, one more test case I'm going to add here. So let's say my test name is edit user. Okay, now I'm going to add one more test case, that is, let's say, view user. Okay, so ideally this is the method. So A should be small here, E should be small here, and this V should be small here. Okay, and last test case that I'm going to add is your delete user. All right, so I'm going to say delete user. Delete user. Okay, so I'll just update the test case name here. So this is the edit, right? So I'll say edit, and this is the view. So I'm going to say view, and this is the add. So I'm going to say, sorry, this is the delete. I'm going to say delete. All right, so let me save it. All right, so I have saved it. Right. So now, can anyone tell me what will be the output for this particular test? Or if I run all the test case, then what will be the output? What do you think? What will be the output? Okay, so I'm having, this is the add
Experience.
user, edit user, then delete user. and then, sorry, view user and then delete user.
It will execute first add user, then edit, then delete, view user, and then delete user, then view user.
Okay. That
Actually,
means
it
you are
will be
saying
a
in
delete
sequence it
because
will execute, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, in sequence it will
Hello.
execute. All right. But here testng follow the
Hello.
alphanumeric sequence.
Alphabetical order, yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Vipin.
Ajay sir, actually, I was disconnected. I just joined right now. There
Okay.
is some internet issue at my end, so just I fixed.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir. So please overview if you can give me
What I'll
something.
suggest,
Yeah.
go through the recording, Vipin.
Yeah.
If you are having any doubt, just let me know. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So right now we are just discussing about how to set the this particular feature. Okay, so we are done with the testng assertions, and we are also done with the how to check the reports as well. So checking report is very simple. You have to go to the project location. Okay, so this is the project location. In that, one directory is created. So in that directory, that test output directory is there. So there are two files created. One is the emailable HTML report, and second one is the index.html file is created. So if I open the index.html file, if you see here, it's saying like, 4 method and 4 are pass. So this is the one, one of the report. Okay, and second one is the emailable HTML report. So if you see, this is your emailable HTML report. So it's saying like, you have executed the 4 test cases. So first one is the add user, second one is the delete user, third one is the edit user, and fourth one is the view user. Right. So we have just run these test cases. Okay. So Vipin, I will suggest you go through the recording so you'll get the
Sure.
clear idea. Okay.
Sir, okay. This report will be generated after the executing of these test keys, right?
Correct. Correct.
The
Correct. Correct. Correct.
test
Correct. Okay. Now, if you see, this is the output generated. So it's saying like, first test case is executed. That is the add user. So first in sequence, we have add user first. So add user is executed, right? So second test case executed is the delete user. So delete user we have added here, last test case, right? So third test case is executed, edit user, and fourth test case executed is the view user. Okay, so in which sequence we have added the test cases, that will not matter here. Okay, what it will matter? It will execute all the test cases on the basis of alphanumeric order. Okay, so test case will execute here in alphanumeric order. Alphanumeric means, sorry, alphabetical order. It's not alphanumeric, alphabetical order it will execute. So let's say I'm saying like, this particular test case, I'm saying like, Z add user. All right. And if I run this, right. So now if you see the output, okay, I think I have executed only one. So I will execute the all test cases. Okay. Now if you see the output, it's saying like, delete user executed first. So here is the delete user, because if you check like, Z is going to execute last, then E is not executed, V is not executed because D is coming first, right? In alphabet. Right, so D will execute, then edit user will execute, then view user will execute, and lastly Z add user is going to execute. If you see, add user is executing last. Why? Because I have added the test name, okay, or method name. Okay, so which name it is considering? Whatever the method name you have given, that name is considered. All right, so basically all the test case will execute on alphabetical order. This is clear. All the test case will execute in alphabetical order.
Yes, Ajay.
Okay. Now see, but that is fine. Like, test case is executing in alphabetical order, but I want to prioritize test case. So I want, let's say this is the Z add user test case, right? But I want to execute this particular test case first, right? So in that case, how I can do it? All right. So in that case, I'm going to set the priority of the test case. So in that case, I'm going to say priority. So let's say I'm going to give the one priority. So this particular test case is having priority one. Then once the test case is, I mean user is added, then I want to view first. Okay, so view test case, view user test case should be executed. So that's the reason I'm saying like priority equal to let's say 2. Okay, so lowest priority will execute first. Lowest priority will execute first. Okay, lowest priority means it is the highest one. All right, so it will execute first. So for delete or for the edit user, I'm going to give the priority 2. Sorry, priority 3. All right, so it will say priority. So let's say 3. And for delete user, I'm going to give the priority what 4. Okay, so for this particular test case, I give the priority 1. This particular test case, I give the priority 2, and then 3 for the edit user, and for delete user, I'm giving the priority 4. So delete user is going to execute last because it is having highest priority. Sorry, highest means it is having largest priority, right? So
Last
as I
one.
said, like smallest will execute first one, right? So here one is the highest, right? So one is going to execute first. Okay, now if you see add user is executed first because it's having highest priority, that is the 1. Then second one is the view user, right? So view user is executed second. Then after view user, we give the priority to the edit user. So edit user is executed after that. And then after that, we have given the priority to the delete user, right? So lastly, delete user is executed. All right. So for any test case, you can give the priority in such a way, right? So this is how we can prioritize the test cases. This is clear for everyone how to prioritize the test case. Okay, so you have to at the rate test level, you have to set the priority at the rate test. It is not in method. It is inside the at the rate test. So at the rate test level, you have to set the priority, right? Now, let's say, for example, tomorrow I got, a requirement that I want to run, let's say, this test number 4 first, because already few user are created. I want to delete those, or maybe this test case I want to execute first. I want to give the priority for this particular test case is highest. But I know that like, there are thousands of test cases and I have added the, or maybe 100 of test cases and I have added the priority for all the test cases. So now how this particular test case will going to execute first. Okay, then I will check, from where priority is started. Priority is started from 1, right? So I can say this is 0 priority. As I said, like, lowest will execute first, right? So I can give the 0 here. Right. So if you see, for the delete user, I have given the 0 priority. Now delete user is executed first, then add user, then view user, and then edit user. Okay, but tomorrow I feel like, let's say this particular view user, or let's say this particular edit user should have now should execute first, right? So in that case, I'm going to give the priority -1 here because -1 is lowest, right? So at the interview or at the time of interview can ask like, I'm having 3 test cases. One test case is having priority -1, one test case is having priority 0, or one test case is having priority, let's say 1, or maybe 2, 1 and 2, and one test case is having -1. So which test case is going to execute first? So first of all, he will say, can I set the -1 priority? So you can say like, you can set the -1 priority. Now, which test case will execute one? What is the lowest priority? That particular test case will execute first. Lowest means what are the lower number you are going to give? That particular test case is going to execute first, right? So in this case, -1 is the lowest one number, right? So -1 is going to execute first. So let me run this. Right. So now if you see edit user is executing first. Edit user is executing first, then delete user, then add user, and then view user. Right. So this is how we can set the priority. This is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, one question. Can we give priority in alphabet or anything like ABC
No,
in character format? Can we
no,
give that?
no.
Only numbers?
Only numbers, right? So priority, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, we can give in that fashion only.
Can we give the zero also?
0 also is fine. I think we have given the 0 here, right, Avinash?
Yes, yes, right.
Sir, priority in 1.1, 1.2 in fraction?
No, in fraction, I don't think it's possible. But if I give the 1.1, it will give the error.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
0.1. In fraction, it's not possible. Okay. So this is about the priority, right? But let's say if I'm working on application and I have written, let's say, 100 test cases, right? And tomorrow there is one feature which is not valid now, right? So in that case, what you are going to do? So let's say, for example, view user or maybe delete user is not possible in your application now. You cannot delete any user, right? So now whenever this particular test case will execute, this is going to always fail. And reason of the failure, this functionality is not available in our application now. But when you write the test cases previously, at that time, this functionality was there. All right. So in that case, what we can do? We can remove this particular test case like this. All right. Okay. But instead
We
of
can
remove, so for
disable.
right. So if you remove and tomorrow that functionality again came back, because it's happened in application, right? So no one can say like, uh, what requirement will came, right? So tomorrow maybe it might be possible that requirement again came. You can delete the user now, right? But you because of you have removed that particular test case, so you have to write that particular test case again, right? So instead of removing, what you can do, you can simply go ahead and you can say here. So let's say enable is equal to false. Enable is equal to false, right? So now if I'm saying like, enable is equal to false means I'm disabling this particular test case, right? So let me run that test suite again. Okay, so I'll just say run all. Okay, so now if you see, only 3 test case has been run. Only three test case has been run. Okay, 0. Why it's not showing in skip? Okay, so this particular test case is not executed. This particular test case is not executed, but it's not showing in skip as well because we haven't skipped this particular test case. We are just disabled this particular test case. Skip is different one and disable is different thing, right? So I have disabled this particular test case. Okay, so enable is equal to false means it is going to disable that particular test case. Right now, if you see, out of 4 test case, only 3 test case has been executed. So delete user, I have just disabled. So if you see, edit user is executed, add user is executed, view user is executed, but not delete user. So by
Ajay,
saying like,
if we write enable is equal to true, it will execute.
correct, enable is equal to true if you say,
It will execute the test.
true if you say, it will execute perfectly fine.
Okay.
Right. If I say like, run all the test case. Right now, if you see 4 of 4 test cases executed and it's executing all the test cases. Delete user, edit user, add user, and view user. So all the test cases will execute. Okay. So if you say enable is equal to false, then you can disable. So the question came here like, how to disable the test cases. How to disable the test cases. The answer is that in Testng, there is one option available that enable. So you have to set that false in front of test. How to prioritize the test case? So there is one priority label available for the tag that you can set 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Or parameter that we can say priority parameter is there. We can set that particular parameter 0, 1, 2, 3. The lowest will be execute first, highest will execute the last. Right.
Ajay, if we provide the we can say same priority for two methods or two test cases, then
Correct. Correct.
which, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Okay. So what do you think what will happen if you give the same priority? Anyone know? Or anyone?
Alphabetical order, it
Sir,
will execute
yeah,
Exactly.
it will
A,
execute
A, B,
automatically.
A. It will
Correct.
take.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So for example, if I'm having two test case, is having same priority. For example, let's say this delete is having, let's say, 0 priority. And as well, let's say this particular Z user is having 0 priority. Z add user. Okay. Now, out of these two test cases, for example, this particular test case, which test case? Delete user. Okay. And this particular first test cases, that is the Z add user. So which is coming alphabetically first? Delete user, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So it will execute first of all delete user. Okay. Then it will execute the this one. Okay. But as we see, the this particular test case is having highest priority, sorry, that is lowest priority, that is -1. So it will execute first. This particular test case is execute first. Edit user execute first. Then it will execute the delete user, edit, delete, then add,
Add
and
user.
then view.
Okay.
All. So if you see, edit, delete, add, and view, because the first test case and last test case is having same priority, so it will consider the alphabetical order now. Clear, Avinash?
Yes. Yes, Ajay.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. The next one is you can give the description for the test case. Okay. Right now, if you see, I'm identifying the test case on the basis of name, right?
Ajay
But
sir,
if I'm yes,
sir, one doubt. What is the difference between disabled and skipped test case?
skip I'll cover later. Okay, I'll show you how when it will skip the test case. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So disable means it's not executed at all, and it will not consider the execution part at all. Okay, skip means because of some condition, it just keep. Right. So I'll
Skip,
tell that.
skip basically it will not execute the
Correct.
test case,
It
right?
is not executed, but because of some few condition, it's not executed. I'll tell you. Okay, when skip count will increase.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, for example, see, this is the test, right? So this test is for adding the user, right? So add user. The test case is for the add user, right? But how or what kind of user? So I can say like I can say these. I can give the description here. Okay, so how to give the description? So for that I have to say description. I can give the description here. Okay, so what description I have to give here? So let's say I have to give this test case is for what? So I'm saying like, this test is for add PIM user. Okay. Then this is for the adding the user, right? So for example, this test case as well, I can give the description. So how to give the description? So for that, I'll say DSC description. So let's say what is the description here? I'm going to say this is edit user test. Okay, that means informative description you are adding for the each and every test case. Okay, it's not mandatory, but if you want, you can give it. Okay, so it's saying like, here, this test is for the PMI user. This test case is for, edit user. And for these two, I don't have added the description, so it's not showing it here. All right. So this is how we can add the
Ajay,
description. Yes.
if the test is failed, the description will be that fail. It will describe and that way it will execute. Here it is
So
passed. The description after
mhm.
execution, it is saying that after pass, this test is for PMI. If the test is failed, then the description will be there or not, will execute or not.
Description will be there. Description will be there. So for example, if I want to fail this particular test case, so how I can fail this particular test case? So I'll say assert. Okay, so I'm going to say false true. Actually is false. Expected was true. So this particular test case is going to fail. All right. So if you see this particular test case is fail, but description is there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, description is only for to on console only or on in report also.
It will display a report as well, right? So if I go to here and I'll say emailable HTML report. Okay. So here, if you say for which test case we have added, add user, right? I think description is not shown here. Description is only in the console, or it just, to show here. Okay, so what this test case is for. Okay, so tomorrow someone can read it from here and he will understand. If he's not knowing the code, then it will easy for them, right? So for example, manual test case, a tester, right? So they don't know the coding, so they can look at this particular description and they can, based on check that like, this particular test case for, add user, this particular test case for edit user, like that. Okay, or tomorrow if you are having multiple test case for add user. So by looking at the description, I can check like, this is for the adding the PIM user. Then next add user test case is for adding the admin user. Next test case add for the, let's say, management user. So this kind of, description I can add for each and every add user test case so that I can identify which add user is for what. Okay. So this is just a description. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now next thing that we have depends on. Okay, so that we're going to see on Monday. Okay. We'll stop here. Okay, if you are having any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we can close the call.
Not right now, sir. We will
Okay.
first review it and after that.
Sure. So
Okay, request you kindly upload today's
yeah,
video.
yeah.
So, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks.